Hello everyone, welcome back to Feldy. We are admiring an early morning sunrise. We are facing the east and watching the same old sun come up that always comes up with the skybox in these older maps. Every morning looks the same and it's a beautiful thing. Well, I finished doing picking up some bales clear over on the eastern side of the map in the grass fields over there. I seem to recall we have got ourselves, there we go, completely out of debt. We have 10 grand in the bank and it's a really good feeling. We have a wonderful contingent of equipment to do the work that we do in here. And we are right on the cusp of another harvest where we have money-making opportunities. So I have fast-forwarded time and we are on the morrow. So even more of our crops, presumably, are readying themselves for harvest. And as we start here, we should be able to continue around the map and keep it going. We have dead ahead a field of potatoes, and while I'm tempted to start with those, I'm much more curious about working on the OSR. If you'll recall, the first time we came in here, we baled the OSR. We simply windrowed it and baled it. This time here, I want to harvest it for canola seed, and I'm especially curious because I've done some script modifications in here. And we put down fertilizer, and I want to make sure or see what impact the fertilizer has on the windrows that we make, as well as the ultimate crop that we end up producing. So we'll fire up our handy windrower here, and I am probably gonna face a few difficulties here based on how I planted the fields. You'll notice we're in field 34 here, and it's going to do great. It'll come around the edge, go along here, it'll turn probably and go up. But I seem to recall I have another OSR field over here in 32. So it isn't going to surprise me in the slightest given the issues we've had with autopilot, the autopilot mod which I've installed in here. Or actually someone else installed. I've adapted it to work with OSR. It isn't going to surprise me if it wanders over here into field 32, which is going to be a little annoying, but I'm not sure we can do much about it. And at least not unless we want to totally babysit. So, without further ado, why don't we get this off and running. Okay, we'll set up the crop. Let's add dry grass. OSR. Let's go on the left hand side. Let's widen this out. We will get it just a little forward. Let's get her started and off and running. Once again, it has, it's probably sees the tractor in the way and it doesn't want to move. So we'll help it out. We'll move just a little bit ahead here. Yeah, that's what I suspected. Oops, I didn't mean to disengage. Let's just head over here to our windrow where actually the cycle came through. Yeah. He's actually cutting some of the grass along the edge of the field along with it. Let me pull that off. So, yeah, there's not much we can do about that, although we could come in with a baler and take care of it. It's kind of hard to avoid with the first time around the field. Although, something I am wondering if there is a here he's going 5 to 6 miles an hour, which is actually probably pretty realistic. But I do seem to recall that he went much quicker previously, and the ESL limiter, key page up, page down. This is a mod I'm not really familiar with. Let me try the page up. Ah, haha, look at that. Oh my goodness. He can really tear it down. Okay, that's too rambunctious. Why don't we put him at maybe just a comfortable 10 miles an hour, give or take? We'll stick with him as he comes around the edge. I'm really curious to see how he behaves kind of on the other end. Like we've talked before, there is the way the autopilot mod is designed. It looks ahead quite a ways for crop and for the edge of the field, and if it sees an adjacent field with the same crop in it that we are currently harvesting, it oftentimes will head over to that other field. And you know, it does make me wonder if ultimately the way to do this, although it would take a ton of time, is just to simply set up a number of courses in these fields to have those available so it always works every time in the field. That's one of the benefits of course play. And it would have the added benefit of giving our combine a course to follow as it does the harvest. You know, by doing it the way we're doing, I'm going to have to manually run the combine just to pick up all these windrows. And I am really curious. Like I say, we fertilized this field, and I'm trying to tell if the fertilization layer has disappeared, and I'm not sure that it has. Alright, good boy, good boy. Yeah, get around the edge. Yeah, well, it left some of it standing. And we'll see how he does coming around the edge in successive turns. Right now, he's cutting a boatload of grass. We're definitely going to have to maybe drag the baler through here to pick all that up, because when we come through and combine, it isn't going to pick up the grass. And speaking of our combine, why don't we go grab it and we'll just cycle over to it. That's to pick up the seed. Here we go. I think, is that, yeah, it's connected, and I believe I have the pickup header on it, so I don't need the reel or anything else. So why don't I drop it? Oops, not that one. We'll drop the, well, I intended to drop the trailer, but I think I still may have, yeah, I still have the trailer attached. So maybe I try, there we go. We are pretty much full of fuel, ready to go. Yeah, the field right next to me is also OSR. So again, it won't surprise me if our hero wanders over there. So it's OSR on the right, canola on the left, and the key difference here is, according to what I've studied in the code, the OSR you have to swath before you combine it, and the canola is the opposite. You have to combine it or cut it standing. If I were to take the cutter header and wander out into the field over here at the right, I don't think I would get any seed at all. It only is going to allow me to pick up a windrow. If I want to have seed. It may let me cut it, but it isn't going to let me get any harvestable seed out of it. Now, I did some work with this particular header, and if I just get the combine going, let me lift it up. Yeah, it's really pleasing to see. The whole belt works, meaning you see these little hooks that are on there. It's a rubber belt on combines like this. I mean, I grew up around combines that harvested grass seed windrows, and it's got these little hooks on it that picks up the windrow and feeds it into the machine. And previously, the mod appeared to be slightly broken, So only the front hooks appear to work. So I there we go. Picking up the seeds. You know what? I don't know, is it just... Hey, that's actually chewing up the grass too. I'll be jiggered. Let me see here. You know, something I don't see is any particle animation of... Okay, here's something else that ultimately may need to be fixed. I don't see any particle animation on the windrow going up into the combine. Maybe a fix I tried to make ended up breaking that, or maybe I never had it to begin with. This may be the best that could be done. It's obviously picking up the windrow, and it's obviously giving, whoa, hold the phone. Yeah, something happened here. There was a whoopee in the, it's, yeah, I'm seeing a few problems with the, oh, that's too fast. A few problems with the windrower, even though it's pretty good, but when it has little wowies, it's gonna cause some problems in the windrow. Oh, and it's reaching the other corner now. I'll be curious to see if it ventures straight across the way. Yeah, it looks kind of suspiciously like it's doing that. Oh my. Well, I don't know what to say. It's gonna do what it's gonna do. I could hop over there right now, but I'm in the middle of combining and I can't be both places at once. The reality is it will turn around at field 32, eventually it'll come back. Probably what end up happening is it's now gonna finish windrowing field number 32, and then I'm gonna have to reset it up here in field 34. You know what's amazing, folks, is we are going to get an enormous yield off of this. I mean, I'm seeing this now. We're already nearly 100. Look at that. Oops. All right, now get the arm out, and I'm going to go to one of my tractors. This one here. We didn't even make it around. And this is quite a contrast from the first harvest that we did, where we had no fertilizer layer on there. Plus, it appears that harvesting canola or harvesting OSR is yielding more canola per square inch of the field, if you will, than we're going to receive when we harvest the canola fields with the regular grain table. This is something I've been curious to find out this entire time, and you know, maybe Farmer Yip set it up this way. Maybe he intended we would use the windrower that he had for the map versus the one I'm using. And I just gotta say, if we keep this up, we are gonna have this coming out our ears. All right, let's get the harvest going again. Oops. And most of this, of course, is gonna be, oops, oh, silly. Most of this, of course, is going to be dedicated to production of biofuel. We should have plenty of it. Actually, now, by the time we start feeding it in there, well, I just had the thing up. We can go look. Yeah, there's our biofuel plant trying to steer here. Oh, and I ended up missing some of the winter. Not that I'm going to be missing too much in terms of seed output. But you see we have a ton of corn in there. I have a feeling very quickly, as in within a second load, we are going to vastly outdo the amount of corn that we have, and we're going to need quite a bit of corn to balance it out. And as you see, we need 1,000 apiece in order to, let's see, was it to make 500? I'd have to look at the manual. But we, as I see this now, this is a fairly large field, and with the first round, we are really making a good yield here. So, oh yeah, that's where our hero kind of just went for it. You know, I'm noticing it's picking up all this grass, and it almost appears like it's giving me credit in the form of, well, maybe not. You know, when it's mainly grass, I don't think it adds up the OSR as quick as it does when it's just straight OSR. Yeah, go figure. Suffice it to say, we are doing awesome in here. This is going to solve pretty much all of our energy problems. At least once we get started also bringing in some corn so we can get that mixed up and in our biofuel plant along with all this OSR. So I'm kind of tickled how this is working out, but I still can't quite tell. Yeah, it appears... Oh my, I'm full again already. I may need to tweak the scripts some more, because the intent was with a windrower that it would remove the fertilization layer. Not that it ultimately matters. You know, in order to replant OSR or anything like that, we're going to have to cultivate everything here. So, oh, I shouldn't be driving on top of the windrow. That's a rookie move. In other words, the fact that there continues to be a... Oh, yeah, see, this works two ways. There comes our windrower back into this field. He may go back and forth between both of them. Oh, good grief. Good grief. And, of course, the combine is in his way, so I maybe should wait until the field is fully windrowed before I attempt to continue harvesting here. So I'll maybe finish this outer edge and then I'll turn the combine off for a little bit. Let me get my auger in so I don't bend it around one of these trees here. Aww. I assume he's probably coming. There he is. So far as I'm aware, this is the only map that I ever encountered in Farm Sim 11 where there was a combine like this that had a pickup header. I'd be curious in the comments if anybody else ever encountered a combine with a pickup header for some kind of crop. I guess the trouble is it was different enough from the standard cutter or whatever that the Giants had that it would require some special modding knowledge in order to make it work. And not everybody had that capability to do it. And Farmer Yip was supported by a talented scripter, Dr. Hilty, that I think made the mods work. You know, the extra mods that came with the map, while Farmer Yip did the mapping. But not everybody has that luxury when they're building things like this into their map. They maybe would love to have something like this, but they don't have that option. Yeah, that's bugging me a little bit. It sure would be nice to be able to see the material coming up the header, and it just isn't. But I'll tell you, something's definitely going into this combine because we are filling up rapidly once more. Whoop! Oh, I can't steer when I'm going backwards. You can see the steam rising from the factory up on the hill. Oh, there, I just left a fair piece. There we go. Yeah, that's leaving some wowies in the cutting for this. Here we got another one down here. It's hard to find good help these days. Yeah, so I may ultimately want to turn this into a course belay just to make it a little bit easier. Oh, already full. I'm not sure I even want to go down there with my tractor just to get entirely full when I know it's going to take a while. And see, I know I am using a boatload of fuel when I haul these full trailers. So we'll just hop over here, we'll go offload it, and we're gonna turn this factory on out here and get it producing the all necessary biofuel so we can take care of our sheep and get some wool, so we can make fertilizer, so we can do any number of things here in the map. I think I need to put it in this middle bay. This is where a multiplayer setup would really be helpful because, you know, if you can hire the combine, you can at least drive the tractor to come pick things up. But when you got to do both, I think I see the handwriting on the wall, which means I'm going to need to do a fair bit of this off cam, so I don't just bore everybody entirely to tears by forcing them to watch literally everything. I've got two fields here that have some pretty hefty amount of windrows in them, and it's going to take a while to harvest, get through the harvest. These other ones, a canola, will probably be much easier, and I'm kind of curious to see what the yield is on those. Now, where was the combine? Was it clear down? Oh, I can't even see it. Can't even see it, but it must be down over along here. Our windrower is crisscrossing across here. You know, I think in one of the fields I parked something there so that it was forced to turn the corner. That seemed to work somewhere back, I think it was on the northern end of the map. I don't know if it's truly effective, but it seemed to help the guy turn the corner. And probably what I need to do is just get in the habit of, that's a bump, is get in the habit of planting different enough things in adjacent fields that there's no temptation for the windrower to ever wander, or the combine for that matter. You know, I suppose I could give, you know, I'm going to try this. I have installed, in here, we also have this, autopilot. What would happen if I turned it on? I'm kind of curious now. Okay, I want to have, it's left centered right now, numpad 2. I want to go down to OSR. Hey, I must have gone, oh, you know what? I have it set up for rape. I probably have it set up for, the reason it probably isn't set up for this is because I knew that the existing grain table couldn't handle OSR. Ah, well, scratch that idea. We'll just continue with it as is, and we're gonna have to do the harvest a good old-fashioned way, by hand and with hard work. Trying to make this turn. don't have much of a turning radius, but we'll get the job done. Since the last time I played in here, I've also done a couple modding things, one of which may take a little time, well, both of which will take a little time to notice and totally come to fruition or bear fruit. Bear fruit in a farming game. Oh my goodness. Well, we'll pick that up I think the next round. One, I know I've talked about this before, the red clover. I was noticing that when it was ready to cut again and the field was full of blooms, full of the red clover blooms, that the distance textures didn't reflect that. It did in the beginning, you know, before we cut it for the first time, but when it regrew, it still had green, you know, and the distance textures are the stuff that the field fades to. You know, so for example, well, I don't really have a good example here, but it's, I am driving crookeder than a dog side with it. I'll see if I can get a decent example here as we come up here to the corner. The foreground is what you see right in front of the machine. It's the foliage that we see, you know, just to the right of the combine here. That's the textures of the literal OSR in this case that we see. The distance textures is where the game quits rendering the nice, tall, fluffy looking textures, and it renders just a color. Now, I'm curious, just for the sake of, will this pick up those? Look at that. This should not be doing that. It's picking up the grass and it's giving us canola. You know, that is a script problem, and I'm going to have to see if I can fix that. There is no reason it should be doing that. That proves that it's a little off. And maybe it's off in the original. You know, it isn't intended to go out there and harvest the grass. For all I know, we're popping. Nope, we're not popping errors. Alright, we got a little drive to do. Anyway, on the red clover, after it was cut once and then was in the process of regrowing, it had full red blooms, but you didn't see red off in the future, off in the distance. What you saw was green. And come to find out, this was the cut texture of the red clover. But as I was looking at it, the more I looked at it, the more that I realized we don't really need a cut texture for red clover. I think we already have it built into the crop itself. When you cut it down, it's naturally going to show cut length kind of on the field. So what I did, and some of these, you know, grass has it. I'm not sure if barley or wheat has it. It's intended to show a certain style or cut in the field when you've cut a crop. Well, so what I did is I went in and I just simply eliminated that line out of the map's i3D file so that it no longer shows the cut texture. And by eliminating that one line, when I opened the map in the editor again, actually, what was in the editor? It was definitely in game. Now, the red clover distance textures appear exactly as you would expect them. And I think part of the problem was not so much that there was the cut texture, it's just that there was nothing to remove it. Meaning there was no plow or cultivator to take it out. The regrowth didn't get rid of it, and there must be some hierarchy in the Giants game engine that it overrode the actual crop growing, it said, hey, there is still cut crop on this field, and that is the distance texture we're going to render. I don't know. I have no idea how the Giants game engine works when it comes to that. All I know is I'm pleased that it was a simple little tweak. And if you do this, obviously always keep a backup. I do have a backup of the i3D file before, so I can always go back if need be, but I think I like the result. The other thing that I've been working on, and actually this is way more work. You know, last time, I think it was just in the last episode that I showed the possibility of having logging in the map. Oh, there goes a bell. I don't know how 30 minutes disappears so quickly. You know, I showed the possibility. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna put this dude right here, and we're gonna see if that prevents the. Here he comes. We are gonna see. We're gonna see. But last time I showed the possibility of logging in Feldy, you know, with a few logs inserted into the map's i3D file. Logs could be their own object. I've kind of opted for the moment just to embed them in the map, which means every time you load the map, they're going to reappear in exactly the same places as they originally did. But that doesn't mean you can't do something with them during a gaming session, like sell them or take them to market or move them around. I mean, you're definitely able to do that because they're dynamic objects. But one of the considerations I was thinking is, you know, the physics were way different for ArmSim 11 than they are, you know, in more recent versions, where it's much more solid in dealing with objects like logs and bales and so forth. And it's like, I am never going to be able to handle these logs, you know, with my own fingers or whatever. That just isn't going to work. So I figured, you know, maybe I need to write a script that auto loads these logs and puts them on a logging trailer for me, so, and then holds them there so they don't bounce out all over as you drive down the road. Why is this skipping so many places? So anyway, that's kind of what I've been working on, is trying to get an auto log loader, if you will. And I am nowhere near done with that. So hopefully when I get it done, eventually I'll show it in here, and maybe we can start. What is going on? Is my header up in the air? I think there are certain ground areas that it just doesn't like to interact with or something. But anyway, folks, as you all heard, oh, maybe I need to look across the way, or actually I need to look on here. Look at that. By putting something down there, he turned the corner. Oh, good grief. Is that all it takes? So he's probably going to remain in that field for a while, at least until he sees it again around the side of the tractor trailer that I kind of left in his way. And boy, I am going to have an enormous job getting all of this harvested. And the more that I think about it, the more that I think I want to set up a horseplay for the future to do this. And that way I can use the same one for the combine as for the windrower. But for now, folks, I want to say thank you for coming along. It's still early morning here in Feldy, and I have a bunch of harvesting to do. I'll try not to make you suffer through all of it, but in the meantime, have a wonderful day, week, whatever you're doing, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.